His voice tightened.
The anger in their voices was unmistakable. But what frightened me even more was their determination. I could feel it. It was the kind of danger that refuses to let go. And in that moment, I realized just how close I'd come to becoming their next victim.
Silence settled over the room.
The fear inside me was almost unbearable.
He swallowed.
The cold ground beneath me no longer felt like protection. It felt like I was waiting for my time to run out.
He looked down, as though he could still see the trembling hands of the frightened little boy he had been.
I'd made it this far. But every passing second felt like another handful of sand slipping through my fingers. I'ma tell you, not only was I tired, but I was terrified.
He covered his mouth with one hand, struggling to keep his emotions from spilling over. His eyes glistened as the memory washed over him once again.
The tears wouldn't stop.
He closed his eyes, returning to the thoughts of the frightened little boy he had been.
How much longer do I have to wait? Then, the weathered outhouse door, old and neglected, groaned as it slowly swung open. The sound shattered the silence.
The crowd stiffened.
Then I heard them. Boots, only a few feet away.
He drew a shallow breath, becoming the frightened little boy once again.
A jolt of fear rushed through my body. I didn't move. My breathing became so shallow I could barely feel it, and my heart pounded so hard. I was certain it would give me away.
Silence filled the bus station. Then, in the simplest words he could find,
whoever was standing there made it hard for me to breathe. It made me feel like danger was only inches away. And with every passing second, those inches disappeared.
He continued, his voice growing quieter, almost as though he were speaking only to himself.
My hiding place behind that outhouse was fragile.
He lowered his eyes.
The rough wooden boards were pressing against the side of my head, while the dry hay scratched at my skin with every breath I took.
He drew a slow breath.
It wasn't comfortable at all, but it was all I had, and I stayed still. Because in that moment, discomfort became the price of survival.
His voice softened.
And patience became my shield, and every shallow breath became a silent prayer.
His eyes glistened.
Time stopped making sense, because every second felt like an hour.
He slowly clenched his hands.
My muscles seemed to burn from staying perfectly still.
His voice nearly disappeared.
My hope was hanging by a thread.
Then something changed. His brow furrowed. He tilted his head ever so slightly.
Wait. I know that voice.
The crowd leaned forward. No one breathed.
My curiosity became stronger than my fear.
He drew a slow, trembling breath.
So, I slowly opened my eyes.
The memory washed over him, and then his expression changed.
The moment I looked, my breath disappeared.
He lowered his gaze.
I couldn't move. Not because I was hiding, but because I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
He looked across the room, making no attempt to hide the pain still written across his face.
My heart shattered.
Then, barely above a whisper,
It was Mr. Jones.
the words settled over the room like a weight. A quiet wave of disbelief moved through the crowd, as if the wind itself had carried the shock from one person to the next.
Mr. Jones had always been a symbol of kindness to me.
Pain settled across his face.
I remembered the day he spared my mama the embarrassment of not having enough money at the register. And sometimes he would quietly slip an extra loaf of bread into our grocery bag.
His eyes glistened.
And every time I walked into his store, he'd hand me a grape sucker.
He patted his chest with his hand.
To me, Mr. Jones was someone I admired.
A long silence followed. When he spoke again, his voice was barely more than a whisper.
But that night, his voice rose with the mob.
His jaw tightened.
He carried a torch, not as a light, but as a weapon.
He slowly shook his head, still struggling with the memory after all those years.
How could someone I trusted, someone I looked up to,
His voice nearly disappeared.
become one of them? A member of the mob.
His eyes glistened.
The betrayal cut deeper than I can ever put into words.
He lowered his gaze, staring at the hay as though it still held the answers he had searched for as a little boy.
In that moment, my world changed. Everything I thought I understood about people, about kindness, and about trust, fell apart.
He slowly lifted his head. His voice had steadied, not because the pain had faded, but because he had finally found the courage to tell the truth.
Mr. Jones was no longer just the man behind the store counter anymore. He became a symbol of cruelty, hypocrisy, and the insidious nature of hatred behind a friendly smile. That moment stayed with me, and it forever changed the way I understood the value of trust, humanity, and how evil can sometimes wear a familiar face.
The silence lingered. No one shifted. Even the air seemed reluctant to move. After what felt like an eternity, Mr. Maxwell drew a slow breath.
Eventually, Mr. Jones and the rest of the mob began to move on.
His shoulders relaxed, just enough to notice.
That the relief I felt was bittersweet. As the mob drifted toward other houses, the torches that had burned so fiercely slowly disappeared into the darkness. And for the first time that night, I finally breathed. It felt like I'd been holding my breath beneath the weight of the world.
His eyes lowered.
But the fear never really left.
The silence settled gently around him. One by one, the sounds of the night returned. Crickets. And then, a breeze moving through the trees. The world cautiously found its voice again. Then his expression softened.
And through that quiet, I heard my mother's voice, calling my name.
His face tightened.
My mother's whispers carried through the darkness. Each one was reaching for me like a lifeline.
He looked away, blinking back the memory.
But fear had taken hold of me, and my body wouldn't move. My voice refused to come out. I couldn't answer the one voice that had always made me feel safe.
He swallowed hard.
When my name was met with silence, panic took hold of my mother. She believed the mob had found me.
He paused, allowing the weight of those words to settle over everyone listening.
And the weight of that thought brought her to her knees. Sobs shook her body as tears fell onto the floor of our house.
His eyes glistened.
The agony of her cries hung in the air.
His voice nearly disappeared.
It was the kind of pain only a mother can know when hope begins to slip away. I finally gathered what little strength I had left and crawled back beneath the house.
His voice steadied, though the emotion beneath it remained.
It was the only place that still offered even the smallest measure of safety.
He swallowed.
That cramped little crawl space became my refuge once again. But even there, my heart refused to slow down.
He lifted his eyes.
The echoes of the mob's footsteps stayed with me.
His jaw tightened.
They had come so close. A little too close.
His gaze drifted into the distance.
Long after the torches disappeared, I could still see their shadows. The memory of that pursuit never truly left me. It became a reminder of just how close I had come to being discovered.
He released a long, slow breath.
So I didn't dare move until their voices finally faded into the night.
His voice grew just a little stronger, as though hope had begun to find its way back.
By the time I finally pulled myself from beneath the house, every part of my body was trembling.
He swallowed.
Every step felt like an act of faith.
Then his expression softened.
And then I saw her.
The bus station felt perfectly still. His eyes glistened.
My mother's eyes found mine.
His voice caught.
For a moment, she couldn't believe I was really standing there.
He paused. Just long enough for the silence to settle over the bus station.
She just stood there, with her breath caught, as if she'd already convinced herself she would never see me again.
He drew in a slow breath.
Then, she broke.
He lifted his chin, his eyes shining with tears.
She fell to her knees. A sob escaped her that she'd been holding inside.
His voice grew warmer.
Then she wrapped me in her arms. She held on so tightly, like she was afraid I'd disappear if she let go.
He slowly nodded.
I've never forgotten that embrace.
His eyes glistened.
It was the embrace of a mother who thought she'd already lost her son and had been given him back.
He wiped away a tear.
The warmth of her embrace slowly melted away the fear I'd been carrying all night. And for the first time since the nightmare began, I could finally breathe.
The tears came freely now, and this time, he made no attempt to hide them.
Through her tears, she lifted her eyes toward heaven and cried, "Oh, what a mighty God we serve."
A deep stillness settled over the bus station. Not empty, but sacred, and heavy with everything that had just been shared.
For me, that night changed everything.
He slowly looked across the faces of the teenagers gathered before him.
The darkness I walked through, and the terror I survived.
His eyes glistened.
It revealed a strength I never knew I possessed.
He let the silence linger. Even the distant hum of traffic beyond the station seemed to fade.
The scars from that night never disappeared. But I stopped seeing them as reminders of fear.
His voice grew steadier, carrying something brighter now.
Instead, I chose to see them as reminders of courage. And I pray that by sharing my story, someone else will find the courage to hold on to hope.
He let his eyes drift across the faces gathered in the bus station.
Even in life's darkest moments.
The silence settled. No one spoke. And no one moved. Mr. Maxwell lowered his eyes, drawing a slow, measured breath. Then a faint, knowing smile appeared, though it carried more sorrow than peace.
But surviving that night was only the beginning.
His expression grew distant, as though another memory had quietly stepped forward.
Years passed before I found the courage to face the man who changed my life forever.
He swallowed.
And when that day finally came,
He paused.
I discovered that some questions will follow you for a lifetime, until you decide to do something about it.